Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective. The truth hurts. The truth hurts. And look, I for those of you who follow me on all the social media accounts, please see that in the description box below. I gave a prediction video earlier today. I said Errol Spence would outlast Mikey Garcia, eventually go for the stoppage. I thought he had a point to make. He did have a point to make, but it wasn't the point to necessarily hurt, bewilder, and kill Mikey Garcia, but it was to outbox and outclass Mikey Garcia. A lot has been made of this fight tonight of Mikey's the better boxer, but Earl's the bigger man. Earl's the big, bigger, stronger weight class, what have you. But what he did tonight was he left no doubt. He left no doubt that even if they were the same weight class, he was a quicker puncher, better timing, better defense, better footwork, better head movement. Look, he gave Mikey the truth with no chaser. Straight up, guys. That was a demolition that we saw tonight. Everything short of an actual stoppage, which you can make the argument that Mikey's brother could have stepped in at any point, especially in the 9th, 10th round. You know, I'm hearing a lot on social media about moral victories for Mikey Garcia. Knock it off. Look, moral victory is if you win a few rounds. I understand the weight, jumping up in weight classes, 2 divisions. And look, I understand Mikey Garcia, in my opinion, Hall of Fame fighter, one of the greats. Everything he's done, 39-0, 4 division weight champ, all that. Taking on the risk. Here's the thing, though. When you get in there and you feel someone's power, you can tell right off the bat whether or not that person's ready for the smoke. And Mikey Garcia was not ready for the smoke after around probably the 3rd or 4th round, where he basically fought from a defensive shell, no counter punching, even as Errol Spence is really trying to put pressure on the man, even when they exchange inside the clinch, all that type of stuff. Mikey Garcia, not interested in counter punching, really just to survive and say, oh, I outlasted, I made it all 12 rounds with Errol Spence, even though some of the other welterweights have not. But look, it's about taking chances. You get in there, you're taking the chance to be in the ring with the man. Take the chance, try to walk through some punches. If you get knocked out, you get knocked out. So be it. I understand, though, that, Mikey can't protect himself. He is a great fighter, understands angles better than a lot of people, was trying to wait for that perfect shot with timing. But this is where we have to give a lot of credit to Errol Spence Jr., his game plan, his trainer, his team. They did a phenomenal job of adjusting to the opponent. His jab really was so dominant tonight that Mikey really never had a chance just with the straight right-hand jab alone. Then using the jab to build on the left hook to the body, left hook upstairs, and then eventually as they embrace, the uppercuts start to come, and then the combinations really did Mikey in. It was overwhelming for him at times. You saw the size issue at times, just not being able to kind of muscle up and get some counters in there. At times he was able to land some counters to the body, Mikey Garcia, but Errol Spence Jr. controlled this fight straight up with his jab and outboxed Mikey Garcia. Let me repeat that, outboxed Mikey Garcia. And we have to give a lot of credit to Errol Spence Jr. There wasn't much. I felt like going into the fight there wasn't much for him to gain. But I felt like he did gain the respect of people from a boxing perspective that just thought this guy was a brawler, knockout artist, somebody that was finishing guys, somebody that was, really getting by on intimidation to some degree. He proved a lot to me from a technical standpoint. Technically outclassed Mikey Garcia. Boxing IQ, Mikey tried to figure him out. I did see certain points in the fight, I think around the 5th or 6th round, where Mikey tried to set some traps for Errol. But what Errol would do was he would quickly reset and go back to his jab, understanding he's the bigger man. I can't tell you how many times, how many championships fights I've watched where the bigger guy doesn't understand how to use his reach, how to use length, and establish the jab and dominate. And when you see a guy ringside like a Lennox Lewis, who was one of the masters of that, and why he was so successful, and another Hall of Fame boxer, you know, Errol Spence just played to his strengths tonight and was dominant, absolutely dominant performance, and left no doubt. And he's the boogeyman in this division. I think that's an appropriate nickname for him. You know, yes, he brought out the truth with Mikey Garcia that he was not ready to jump up. You know, it's funny, I was talking to somebody, and, you know, we're talking about just moving up in weight. How realistic is that to adjust to a weight class against an elite champion in such a short period of time? And I think we found the answer to that tonight. It's hard. You know, Errol Spence Jr. really, I think later in his career, is probably going to be a guy that ends up in the 160s, you know, probably around the middleweight. You know, we already see, you know, in the 150 area, he spars regularly with the Charlo twins, and the work he puts in there. He's just a naturally bigger guy, even at 147. But they do the whole circus of bringing Manny Pacquiao, who's new to the PBC team, and Al Heyman and all those guys, and trying to parade him in there. Manny don't want that smoke. Not at his age. No. I don't want that for Manny. Let alone do I want to pay or see that fight. No, sir. Give me Spence and Keith Thurman so we can shut up Keith Thurman. If you guys want to do Spence and Sean Porter and he, you know, demolishes him, to me, this is going to come down to a Crawford Spence situation. This is inevitable. It's a on course for destruction. It's just a question of PBC versus Bob Arum and ESPN. That's all this really is about. Now, the other thing too that I'm a little concerned with, because Errol Spence Jr. talking about a lot about, and he put that energy out there and reminded everyone, hey, Mikey Garcia, your brother doesn't believe in you. Your family doesn't believe in you. They told you not to take this fight. They told you, hey, this is an unnecessary risk. And all of that kind of came true tonight. Let's be honest. Let's just be honest, people. And now you see the fighters that have gone up against Errol Spence and what has become of them after facing Errol Spence, because he's a guy that elicits a lot of long-term damage. And what do I mean by that? Your next fight or fight afterwards. We saw this with a guy like a Andre Ward versus a Sergey Kovalev, and how Kovalev has struggled moving on because of, you know, where he's, the body shots, all that type of stuff. Errol Spence, 12th round, up 11 rounds to nothing, is still throwing hellacious body shots at Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia is talking about he's going to move back down in divisions, rightfully so, smart idea. Probably going back to 140 or 135, which is fine, but, you know, I do believe that fighters can get beat up, and that effect wears on throughout their career to where it can affect them in future fights. So that's something to look out for Mikey Garcia, and I think that's a big factor on why his brother wanted to avoid this to begin with. Mikey has a big heart. He does deserve credit for not getting knocked out, but that's it. I don't give him any credit. This moral victory nonsense is ridiculous. You know, as for, you know, we talked about Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford, being the move for me ultimately. But we got to break through these political factions with PBC and ESPN. We'll see what happens. But overall, just absolute dominant victory. Errol Spence Jr., the truth, and the truth shall set you free, as he proved tonight. Unbelievable performance in Cowboy Stadium. Please chime in. Remember to follow us on all social media accounts, but please chime in with your thoughts on tonight's bout and what you think the future of the 147 division holds and what you think Mikey Garcia's future holds. Appreciate y'all.